3 debt collection agencies are under fire for posing as delivery couriers to collect overdue debt. The lawsuit against them says the agencies violated the U.S. Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which bars collectors from using misleading practices against debtors. Joining me to talk about this is Molly Barrows, legal journalist for the Trial Lawyer magazine. You know, just when you think it's gotten crazy, from what I understand, these debt collectors would disguise themselves in various uniforms and tell us what happened.
Couriers, and it was easier for them to do in our age of technology with voicemails and messages, and so that's essentially what they were doing, is calling people that these debt collection companies were trying to get a hold of. They would leave this message in a very authoritative tone, and they gave samples in the lawsuit, but basically in a nutshell they said, "This is so-and-so, I have very important papers to give you related to a lawsuit that you're facing from the IRS. Please call this number for more information." They would then call that number. Another person would answer the phone, another representative of Account Recovery Solutions, that would reiterate the same message that they just heard.
That's the company.
That's the company that's named in this lawsuit, along with 2 other debt collection companies. This is the one that's being accused of this particular scheme. The other 2 are liable by proxy, if you will, because they hired Account Recovery Solutions to collect for them. Okay, so well, this is the main one.
Something's not clear to me. Okay, so they disguise themselves as legal couriers. We got right. They've got legal documents. We have something very important. You may need to know it. Maybe it's an estate issue. Who knows what they said? But I still don't get. They show up at the front door. What happens then? How does that collect the debt?
Well, it's more of the message. So they get this message, they call the number, another representative answers, repeats the same message that they heard. "Yes, we have this information, these legal papers that you need to see. Here's yet another number for you to call." And it is only when they call that third number that the person on the other end identifies themselves as being with Account Recovery Solutions, a debt collection company, and you are hereby notified that we are trying to contact you in order to collect this debt, and read them a small Miranda, if you will, which is required under federal law. But what is not covered under federal law is the deceptive practices. That's what this lawsuit is alleging, is that they were in violation of those deceptive practices.
Under that there's actually room for prosecution here. I mean, this is beyond sanctions. These people can be prosecuted for doing this.
And that's essentially what the lawsuit is asking for, a trial by jury for those reasons, because of a variety of things, that not just the deceptive tactic in order to get direct contact with this individual, which is what they're after, but also because they were intimidating. They said, "We will be coming by your house at your address," and they repeat your address, "to give you these papers because you are facing this legal action." So you're right. It's essentially, threatening and extorting to a certain extent to get them to behave.
Extortion comes to my mind. And I think if I was prosecution of these people should not be a problem. I can tell you as an ex-prosecutor, you can make out a case really easily here. Is this limited to a small group? We just have a small group of people doing this?
Well, the lawsuit doesn't cover whether or not this was a company-sanctioned policy, but it would seem to imply that the company was well aware that their employees were conducting this kind of practice. So it is clearly defined in the 1977 congressional law that was passed that, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which is aimed to protect citizens from deceptive practices like this and harassing practices, because it continues to be a huge issue. You could just do one Google search about debt collectors, and it is page after page after page of deceptive practices or threatening practices. So
people should do that. People should do that, by the way.
Yes.
Molly Barrows, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much, Pap. We'll continue to follow this and let you know if there is a prosecution.